Hello fellow book nerds, this is Gabby and let's find out what new books are coming out in December. So how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's right. I am so excited for the December releases. I thought nothing interesting was coming out and then I looked on Goodreads and so many books that I have not even heard of that sound really weird and really cool are coming out, so I'm really interested to talk to you about them. As you might know, this is a new series on my channel where I'm going to be talking about new releases every month and then you can vote on what you want me to read and review. So in November we're reading These Violent Delights, which the review is going to be up for that in about 2 weeks, and last month I've read Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow, and that one you can already watch, so go check out that video. But without further ado, let's go through all the books I'm kind of interested in, I maybe want to read, so let me know which ones you want me to pick up and let me know if you're excited for them. Just pause, write in a comment right now, what's your most anticipated December release? Is there one? Just a short disclaimer, so I know there's a lot of cool sequels and like X book in the series coming out. For example, the last book in the Ember and the Ashes series, and I think A Rhythm of War, which is like an Oathbringer, but I haven't read any of these, so these are all gonna be either standalones or first book in the series, so don't worry. This is for these people starting new series as per usual, even though the old ones are still going. Just like me. So the first book we have is The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. So The Cousins is a thriller. This one's coming out December 1st and it's the author of One of Us is Lying book, which I've read and I thought it was a decent YA thriller, but it wasn't like mind-blowing. This one, let me tell you what it's about. If you don't know, I don't really know what these are about. They haven't even been released, so you know, you should understand. Anyway, let's have some dramatic reading. Millie, Aubrey and Jonah Story are cousins, but they barely know each other and they've never even met their grandmother. Rich and reclusive, she disinherited their parents before they were born. So when each receive a letter inviting them to work at her island resort for the summer, they're surprised and curious. Their parents are all clear on one point. Not going is not an option. This could be the opportunity to get back into grandmother's good graces. But when the cousins arrive on the island, it's immediately clear that she has different plans for them. And the longer they stay, the more they realize how mysterious and dark their family's past is. Couple things interesting me in this one. Family drama, family secrets, reclusive island, and I just love thrillers. And for some reason, I quite like reading thrillers in winter actually. It makes me feel like nice and cozy, like I'm getting into the mystery. I can get under the blanket and just find out what's happening in the world of whatever, spa resorts in this case I guess. So I'm quite excited for that one. Let me know if you're gonna be reading. I applied for the ARC but I didn't get it, so that's just a sad story right there. Okay, the second book was just so weird. I had to include it. Like, it's just so weird. I just don't understand. Let me just introduce A Curse of Roses by Diana Pinguicha. So this is a fantasy by a Portuguese author. It's also coming out on December 1st and the premise is wild. With just one touch, bread turns into roses. With just one bite, cheese turns into lilies. There is a famine plaguing the land and Princess Isabel is wasting food simply by trying to eat. Before she can even swallow her magic, her curse has turned her meal into a bouquet. She's on the verge of starving, which only reminds her that the people of Portugal have been enduring the same pain. If only it were possible to reverse her magic, then she could turn flowers into food. Fatyan, a beautiful enchanted Mora, is the only one who can help, but she is trapped by magical binds. She can teach Isabel how to control her curse, if Isabel sets her free with a kiss. So apparently this is based on a Portuguese novel and it's his own voices novel, and if you didn't get that, it's a LGBTQ story. So it sounds so weird, like, so she tries to eat, but she turns food into flowers, but she's about to starve, but like, how long has been the curse there? Because I'm pretty sure you can starve in like 3 days. Like if you haven't eaten in 3 days, or like a week, like for sure in a week you'll be dead. Like they don't have liquid diet. Can she even drink? She probably can drink, but still, after a week you die, right? I don't understand, how is she still alive? Or did they put the curse on her like last week? Or if someone puts food into her mouth and she's like, oh, you know, like open her mouth very widely and you just put food in her mouth, can she eat it? Or does it turn into like flowers in her mouth? I have a lot of questions and I need answers. Next up, I thought I would throw a romance novel because I ran a poll asking you guys what you think is like very, very December books, like genre, December genre, and everyone said romance, like almost everyone. Other people said thrillers, weirdly, so there are weird people like me. But everyone said romance, and I get that, so I threw in a romance so you guys know what's up. This is called How to Fail at Flirting by Denise Williams, also coming out December 1st. And the premise is, when her flaming department lands on the university's shopping block, Professor Nia Turner's friends convince her to shed her frumpy cardigan for an evening on the town. For one night, her focus will stray from her demanding job and she'll tackle a new kind of to-do list. When she meets a charming stranger in a town on business, I just realized what a to-do list was. Anyway, he presents the perfect opportunity to check off an item of her list. Let the guy buy her a drink. Check. Try something new. Check. A no strings attached hookup. Check. Almost. Jake makes her laugh and challenges Nia to rebuild her confidence, which was left toppled by her abusive ex-boyfriend. Soon she's flirting with a chance at more serious romantic relationship, except nothing can be that easy. The complicated strings around her dating Jake might destroy her career. I believe the author is African American, so that's a really cool opportunity to read some diverse romances. I feel like a lot of romances are just like by white ladies, so this would be cool to try something new, and it just sounds adorable. Yeah, I'm not like that big on contemporaries, but once in a while in December I'll pick up a romance book and it'll be great. So hopefully this one will be one of those instances. Next one also sounds really interesting. It's completely different from the other ones, but I think it sounds super cool. So it's called The Ballad of Amy Miles by Christie Dallas Alley. And this is a science fiction novel set in a post-apocalyptic world, and it's coming out at December 1st as well. There's a lot of December 1st releases that I'm interested in. Raised in isolation, a heavenly shepherd, her family's trailer dealership turned survival compound, Amy Miles knows that she was lucky to be born into a place of safety after the old world ended and the chaos began. But when her grandfather arranges a marriage to a cold-eyed stranger, she realizes that her destiny as one of the few female capable of still bearing children isn't something she's ready to face. With the help of one of her aunts, she flees the only life she's ever known and sets off on a quest to find her long-lost mother and hopefully a mate of her own choosing. But as she journeys, Amy discovers many new things about the world and about herself. So this is an LGBTQ plus novel, so I assume the thing she discovers is ladies. So good for her. So this one sounds really interesting. I don't really read that many post-apocalyptic sci-fi, so I think that's a really interesting bit there. And LGBTQ, I also want to read more of those. It sounds super interesting. I think it has so few Goodreads like followings, but it sounds like it deserves more, so I'm gonna link all the books Goodreads pages down below, but if you want to check it out, you can. Next up we have yet another type of story, so this time it's a short story collection, which I don't read much, but I feel like this one's really, really cool. So it's called A Universe of Wishes by Danielle Clayton, and it's coming out December 8th, and this is the 4th collaboration with Weenie Diverse Books. 15 award-winning and celebrated diverse authors deliver stories about a princess without a need of a prince, a monster long misunderstood, memories that vanish with a spell, and voices that refuse to stay silent in the face of injustice. The powerful and inclusive collection contains a universe of wishes for a braver and more beautiful world. And the authors include Samira Ahmed, Libba Bray, Danielle Clayton, Zoraya Cordova, Tessa Grattan, Kwame Mbalia, Anne-Marie McLemore, Tochi Onyebuchi, Mark Oshiro, Natalie C. Parker, Rebecca Roanhorse, Dory Schwab, Tara Sin, Nick Stone, and to be announced debut author. So this is a really stellar cast and it sounds really interesting. I love spins on old fairy tales, but like when they take like an unexpected turn. The only thing I don't like is when they're preachy, so I really hope these don't end up being like, look, we have a moral and everything, so it's a proper fairy tale now. I just hope these are not overtly preachy, but I'm really excited and I think this has a lot of potential. And the next book, that's the only one that I saw on Twitter, the cover going around, and that's mainly how I find out about my books, so it's surprising that all the other ones I haven't heard. But this one's called The Notorious Virtues by Alwyn Hamilton, and it's a fantasy coming out on December 18th. At 16, Nora is the daughter of the most powerful heiress of all of Wallstadt. Her family controls all the money and all the magic in the entire country. But despite being in the center of attention, Nora has always felt like an outsider. When her mother is found dead in an alley, the family throne and fortune are suddenly up for grabs, and Nora will be pitted against her cousins in the Veritas, the ultimate magical competition for power that determines the one family heir. But there is a surprise contestant this time, Lotte, the illegitimate daughter of Nora's aunt. When Lotte's absent mother retrieves her from the rural convent she'd abandoned her to, Lotte goes from being an orphan to surrounded by family. Unfortunately, most of them want her dead. This one sounds so fun, and also like, how deep is that? Just abandon your kid in the orphanage and be like, now you're gonna be the heir for a crime family. And yeah, this one sounds really fun. I think it has that family crime, maybe magical duel kind of vibe. I assume found family, or like your real family but you found it, and I assume that Nora and Lotte are gonna become like besties or something. That'd be nice. The next book is really cool. It's The Mystery of Mrs Christie by Mary Benedict, and it's a historical fiction mystery novel coming out December 29th. So probably don't choose that because I'm not going to read that by the end of December. So this is a fictional story, but it perpetrates to the real figure of Agatha Christie, who's a very well-known mystery author. She wrote things like And Then There Were None, or Murder on the Orient Express, or Murder on the Nile, I think it's called. Actually, in 1926, Agatha Christie just disappeared for 11 days. Car was found abandoned, and her husband and daughter had like no clue where she was, and everyone was like, what the hell, where is she? She just disappeared, and 11 days later she just kind of came back. And I think no one really knows what happened in those 11 days. I don't think she ever like talked about it and explained what happened. So basically this novel is like a fictional account of what happened during those 11 days, and I feel like I vaguely knew that about Agatha Christie, that she just kind of disappeared for 11 days, which is like a weird thing to do, but I guess it's very fitting. If I were a mystery writer, I would also disappear for 11 days and then be like, that actually sounds like a legit, like a PR stunt. PR stunt! But I still think the book sounds really fascinating, so I'm definitely gonna give it a shot. And there's another book coming out on the 29th, so probably more of a recommendation for you than me. But it's called A Spy in the Struggle by Aya de Leon. It's a thriller, and it follows the story of Yolanda, who has forged her desire to escape poverty into a laser-like focus that took her through prep school and Harvard Law. So when her prestigious New York law firm is raided by FBI, Yolanda turns in her corrupt bosses to save her career and goes to work for the bureau. Soon she's undercover at Red, Black and Green, an African-American extremist activist group back in her California college town. They claim a biotech corporation fueled by Pentagon funding is exploiting the neighborhood, but Yolanda is determined to put this assignment in her win column, head back to corporate law and regain her comfortable life, until an unexpected romance opens her heart and a suspicious death opens her eyes. So this just sounds so interesting. I don't know, it just sounds so weird. So it's kind of like activist groups connected with FBI conspiracies, and just this random lawyer woman being like, what's happening? I don't know, it just sounds so interesting. I really want to check that out, and I think again that's by a Black author, which is really cool to read more diverse stories. And I have a bit of a bonus recommendation, I guess. I mean, last two ones were really bonus because they come out so late, but this one actually comes out on December 1st, and I don't know how much you guys are interested in non-fiction, but there's a new book by Ioma Ola, who is the author of So You Want to Talk About Race, and her newest book is called Mediocre, The Dangerous Legacy of White Male America. And it's kind of, well, it's saying that after the election of Trump, she basically went out and was like, what went wrong, and it's kind of her analysis. I read her other book, So You Want to Talk About Race, and that was a really interesting account as well. I think she has some interesting perspectives, so I definitely want to check out this book. I'm not sure when I'll be able to do that. Non-fiction books are usually really popular on my library, but I definitely want to check it out. And if you're interested in non-fiction, this is something I would probably, maybe not recommend because I haven't read it, but this is something that I'm interested in, and I think it's going to be having a lot of relevant conversations, so something to check out. Alright everyone, I think that's it for the December releases of 2020. Last month in 2020, how crazy is that. I really hope you found some of these interesting, so please let me in the comments know which one you're most interested in, or head to the Twitter for a little bit of a poll, because you know it's easier to click a button, but still, if you could comment, that would help me out so much. You have no clue how much that helps. But thank you so much for watching, and if you could like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!